Nick, it's good to be back up here with you. I figured I would put an end to this whole anchor-partner speed dating that you were going through and provide some consistency in your life.
Andre, they're not proper words in the English language for me to express how happy I am to have you here, but I'll believe it's consistent when I see you right back here with me in a couple of weeks. No, you're absolutely right. The team started 21-0, and last weekend finally lost to Oregon, but still 22-1 right now. On that Saturday game, they came back from down 4 runs to take the Oregon Ducks into extras, but for the first time this season, could not come out on top, falling 5-4 on a walk-off home run in the 12th. The Devils rebounded well on Sunday, though, beating Oregon 7-3 and taking the series. This moved them to 5-1 in Pac-12 play, with 8 conference series remaining on the schedule. Through 23 games, the team is hitting a collective .344 with 38 home runs and 211 runs batted in. This weekend, the Tarps down the left field line are coming off, and ASU welcomes rival Arizona to town for a 3-game weekend set. A crucial Territorial Cup point stands in the line, and with the Arizona State offense scorching hot, we're excited to welcome ASU hitting coach Mike Early to the show. He joins us live from Phoenix Municipal Stadium. And Mike, I mentioned the numbers a little earlier on, but ASU's offense has been the best in the country to this point. What have you seen from your hitters that's contributed to that? Just over your left shoulder is that new multi-million hitting facility that was installed in the offseason. How has that helped your hitters? On Saturday against Oregon, the bats weren't quite there. There wasn't really any consistency. But on Sunday, things turned around. 7 runs that you guys put up on the Ducks. What does it say about your offense that they were to bounce back from the first loss of the season like that? Very exciting games this weekend. University of Arizona comes to town. The Territorial Cup is on the line. How excited are you for these games, and what do you think we should expect? Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. Arizona State, the University of Arizona first pitch tonight at Phoenix Municipal Stadium, 7 p.m. In case you haven't heard, Arizona State men's hockey is playoff bound. For the first time in its Division I history, the Devils yesterday went cross-country to Allentown, Pennsylvania, where they will face Quinnipiac on Saturday in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Should they win, ASU would face either Minnesota Duluth or Bowling Green for a chance to go to the Frozen Four. For Sun Devil hockey, this postseason berth is the biggest opportunity in the program's young history, and the players know what it took to make it a reality. Ahead of Saturday's contest, WCSN reporters Riley Trujillo, Michael Gutnick, Hunter Hipple, and Reagan Smith broke down everything you need to know about the matchup. ASU baseball isn't the only team facing U of A this weekend. Another team with the Territorial Cup point on the line is ASU softball, who this weekend travels south to take on the Wildcats. The Sun Devils are feeling a bit of momentum after a sweep against Utah last weekend, which they earned with a dramatic 9-run, bottom of the 7th comeback win over the Utes. For more, we welcome in ASU softball reporter Gabrielle Ducharmin. Gabby, ASU is leading the nation in runs and home runs per game, and they showed that in the comeback against Utah. What are the keys to ASU's offensive firepower? And we saw the graphic there, an absolutely phenomenal comeback from an offensive standpoint, but switching to the circle, coming into the season with a whole new staff, they've had some good games, including a couple of one-hitters, but the pitching staff has also had some serious struggles. How are they doing? So the pitching in the circle has been good, the hitting in the box has been fantastic as well, and as a result, ASU sits 25-8. 5-1 in Pac-12 play, but they have some really tough series coming up against some top-ranked teams in Arizona and UCLA. What would you expect from the rest of the season? Gabby, thanks so much. We appreciate your insight on the show. Both ASU and Arizona are ranked, and this weekend the two meeting in Tucson is going to be a great series. WCSN's Troy Tauscher, he has more on the storylines that are worth keeping an eye on in this Territorial Cup matchup. Andre, you're graduating I guess a little over a month now. And the stock of your degree is just, it's rising. It's going to be skyrocketing. Absolutely so much.
Shouts to you, Jake Garcia.
Okay, all right.
That's bold. There's a reason that I stopped playing baseball in 8th grade. My hand-eye coordination isn't there. So I'm going to give myself maybe 2 or 3 catches, plus or minus 2. I have a huge problem with this. I'm sorry. Troy Tauscher, our executive producer, please don't let Jackson back on the show. This is terrifying. This is terrible. I don't even want to see that again. There's a reason ASU redesigned the mascot a few years ago. Really good tweets, though. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I hope you guys let me back on after scaring you a little bit.
Fiery hot segment. Good stuff as always. Also off to a hot start, it's ASU beach volleyball. But they did begin to slow down a little bit this past weekend. The Sand Devils lost to number 2 USC, number 5 Pepperdine, and then twice to number 6 Hawaii. But while ASU lost, WCSN certainly didn't, as our own Reed Harmon was there and talked with junior Caitlin Caballo after the second day of matches.
We're going to bring you in here, and I'm not even going to waste the viewers' time by explaining what this is or how it's going to go.
Everyone knows this is our favorite
Everyone
segment.
knows at this point. It's our favorite time of the show every single week. I'm just going to get it going.
Let's do it.
ASU hockey is in Allentown this weekend. We've talked about it already. How do you think they do this weekend?
This is going to be a hot take. I think ASU is able to top Quinnipiac. They've had success against them in past years. You have two really good goaltenders in net and Joey DeCourt and Andrew Shortridge. But I do think that ASU comes out on top against Quinnipiac, but I don't think they make it to the Frozen Four in Buffalo. What about you? Okay, that's absolutely fair. Now, from one team that's in the postseason to another, ASU women's basketball playing Mississippi State today up in Portland. What do the Devils need to do in order to have any chance of success against Mississippi State? This is going to sound super generic. I think that they can't let it get in their own heads. I mean, we heard from Gareth, Mississippi State is one of the best programs in the country. They're number one seeded in their region, so it's going to be a tough test for ASU. They need to score early, they need to score often, and if they don't sustain it for literally the entire game, there is no chance that they have any shot of coming out on top.
Tennis, baseball, softball, who has the best weekend?
I think it's going to be ASU baseball. The Arizona softball team is ranked. Granted, ASU softball is ranked, but statistically speaking, Arizona's a little bit better. ASU baseball, meanwhile, is far and away better than the University of Arizona. I could easily see baseball sweeping the series, at least 2 games, but we'll see. What about you? We have some really good games between baseball, softball. I'm excited. I'm even more excited, though, to find out who's going to win this segment. I'm feeling especially confident. I don't know about you, but
honestly, I'm not. So
maybe the producers will penalize you for not having been here the last couple of episodes. We'll wait and see. And, eventually it's going to come to an MCU and what do you know? This is exciting stuff, folks. What's not exciting, though, is the image of the Pac-12 conference. It's struggling, and you'd be hard-pressed to find someone that won't admit that, unless, of course, you would run into Larry Scott in the elevator or something like that. While on the surface it looks bad, and it is, there's more than meets the eye. The Pac-12 calls itself the Conference of Champions, and in my eyes, that is true to some degree. Now, hear me out. There's been a great deal of success. It's just been in places that very few people see, specifically women's sports. Let's begin with the 5 women's basketball teams in the Sweet 16 this weekend. And on top of that, the NCAA champion of 10 different women's sports have come from the Pac-12 in one of the last 2 years. 14 of 26 possible women's national champions. And I won't say that men's sports in this conference are all bad. Oregon State won the baseball national title last year in Omaha, and there are 4 baseball teams in the top 10 rankings right now. But that, along with men's soccer in 2017, which Stanford won the national championship for, are the only men's national championships for the conference in that same 2-year time frame I mentioned earlier. And my point is this. The picture painted about the Pac-12 conference is bleak, and for good reason. It's been 14 years since a football team won the Natty, 21 since a men's basketball team did so, and an absolute clown is running the conference. But not everything is bad. Call them the Conference of Women's Championships, the Conference of Non-Revenue Champions, whatever it may be. But women's athletics in the Pac-12 are thriving. That's the way it is. He can hit, he can play the field, he can do it all. Now, we heard about ASU softball's comeback earlier in the show, and it was because of Allie Tattenall's bases loaded triple. 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. ASU scored 9 runs in the bottom of the 7th to complete a comeback. They sent 7 straight hitters to the plate with 2 outs. All of them scored. Allie Tattenall, you love to see someone who doesn't get many ABs come through in a clutch situation like that.
That's good stuff right there.
That was a fantastic celebration, by the way.
Oh,
Holy
absolutely.
cow. That's like hockey
Break
level.
the rock. You love to see it.
Big fan. Also big fan of this show. Really glad to have you back.
It's good to
Am I
be
going to
back.
see you here in a couple weeks?
You know what? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
If I'm not, I'm going to be sorely disappointed. It was a great show, folks. Thanks for spending a little bit of your Friday afternoon with us. For our entire production staff in the control room and studio, my partner Andre Sims, I'm Nick Batter. So long, farewell. We'll see you here next time.